everyone. Jaimunji here for Metal on Tap, and I have a very special guest with me today. Chris, would you like to introduce yourself and tell the people where you're from?
Yeah, my name's Chris McThrashy, and I play in a band called Hidden Intent from South Australia. We've been labelled as pub thrash. We've invented our own genre of thrash metal. Would you believe it? So yeah, keen as to be here with you, mate. Keen as fuck.
I'm bloody looking forward to it, mate, because believe it or not, you've got some new music on the horizon. You've already got the new single out, new album is on the way. How are you feeling about it all?
Mate, it's been, yeah, quite a epic journey, this new album. We've really pushed the limits of what the band does musically.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of, being a thrash metal band, right? It's you're honed in on a specific sort of style and genre, and people start to expect certain things from you as a thrash band. But then with this one, we just went, you know what, we're going to still be thrash. We're going in a much heavier direction, and we're really going to push the limits as far as songwriting is concerned, and just bleed the lines a little bit, and just make everything a little bit wider. Still be us, but everything else. So having melodic elements, some more techie elements, some heavier stuff, and then of course some opera thrash metal in there too.
And you got to have it. And I've had the pleasure of already spinning the album a couple of times. So I've got to say, you're right. You definitely did move in that heavier direction, but the sound quality on this one, mate, the production value on this is just mint. That bass on a couple of those tracks in particular just kind of cuts through. It's dirty. It's just like, oh fuck yeah! Like, how was that whole experience? Because cool. It is good. It is good. I like it.
Yeah, nice, man. So you've actually had the chance to listen to the whole album. That's cool. Dicey, you sneaky devil.
Dicey, cool. Right before he CC'd you in the email, he's like, oh, do you want to have a listen to it? I was like, yeah. And then he put you in the email. So I was like, oh, you probably don't know. So I thought, I won't tell you.
Yeah, that's all right, man. It's all good. He's just doing his job, mate. He does a great job.
That's it. And let's talk about it. We can get to the heavy elements and everything, but I want to get to the bit more of the melodic element first, because it took me by surprise when it came on. One More for the Road. Bit more of a... ballad as ballad can be in that type of terms, I guess, is the way I can say it. Yeah. How'd that one come together?
Yeah, that's a really a deep one, man. Like we had a ballad on our second album on Fear, Prey, Demise, and I don't think the whole band were ever really happy with it.
Yeah.
It was one of those songs we kind of got it to a certain point, and then we just stopped arguing on it and just left it for what it was. But then this time around, our drummer does a lot of the producing, and for this one in particular, he's done a lot more on this album. And he just came up with the idea of having another attempt at a ballad and just making it a bit more epic, a bit more like less cheesy and more on the, epic side, like, Mama I'm Coming Home, like those classic ballads that are cool.
Yeah.
So we tried to come up with that combined with the way I sing now, the more Motorhead Lemmy kind of style that I have now.
Yeah.
But very influenced by that. But the whole song pretty much came about because of myself, my father and Phil's sister passing a year apart.
Oh wow!
So pretty full on, man. So pretty deep. But we thought we'd have a song to sort of capture those that are no longer with us, and it'd be just be so cool to have like just one more opportunity to have hang out and have a beer with them. Like One More for the Road. So that's kind of what the song's about.
It's meaningful, and where it falls on the album too, because it comes not long after, or I can't remember if it was exactly after or not long after, a song called Cum Punch. So it was a bit of a I like how you kind of threw that in there. It took me off guard.
Yeah, that's right. That's the thing, man. We wanted to have the album as wide as possible, like still being Hidden Intent and being what we're known for, but like having those wider elements. And I think a song like that, Cum Punch is another one. That was actually a working title. That's the only song on the album where we've left the working title in there.
Oh, really?
We just thought we needed to have like one song in there that kind of captures, still holds true to the Aussie ochre kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And that's the song. So it's basically about shit humans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it's one of those things too. It's like if you go to a record store, you look on the back of it, you're like, and you're a young kid, let's pretend you got some 16-year-olds going to some of your shows. They get that. They're like, oh, shit, mum and dad won't want to see that. But that's also going to be the track they want to listen to first when they get it as well. It's just one of those things. I remember doing that when I was growing up too. You just can't help yourself. It's a bit of fun. it's always good to chuck it in there. But mate, we'll jump away from the for a second, just go on about how the journey has been from Hidden Intent, because you've been playing some big shows. You're just doing the Tim Owens tour. You joined Sepultura on what might have been their last ever Australian tour a couple of years ago with a couple of my buddies from Deprivation. I grew up with those guys, so it's kind of
good
fun.
Dudes.
Yeah. Oh, well, you don't need to say that. Let's not go that far.
Yeah, well, that was cool. Like Deprivation too, because I'm pretty sure that support like selection was based on the Wacken thing. It had to have been because both Deprivation and Hidden played Wacken. They represented Australia at the battle, and we sort of got on more on our own touring merit, I would say.
Yeah.
So yeah, both got to play it for different reasons, and then it was cool when we did the Sepultura run because it was like two bands that have played Wacken, and it was just so easy to work with a band like that. They just knows how it goes, and we could just borrow gear off each other, and it was just. Yeah, it was a really good camaraderie, that tour, man. And then the last night we actually got to hang out with Sepultura. They were a bit more party on the last night because it was the end of the tour.
Yeah.
And because primarily a lot of them are sober now. So on the last night they sort of let loose a bit more and just relaxed and got to hang out with them backstage. It was really surreal, man, because I played in a Sepultura. I still do on and off playing a Sepultura tribute, which I've been doing since I was 19.
Wow.
Yeah, so to actually play with the real deal was like, whoa,
That's got to be one of those, I can't believe I'm kind of standing up here doing these things. And it must have been for Wacken as well, because that's what I was hitting to you earlier. That's where I first saw you guys play live, was at Wacken. So in the mud.
Really?
Yes. I made sure to go out and check you guys out. You got to support the Aussies when you're there, them and the boys from Dep. So that was a lot of fun. But like I said, very muddy. How was that whole experience for you? Because being an Aussie band, playing in Germany at like the oldest metal festival there is.
Yeah, that was like surreal, man. And we were just honestly, man, we were just really worried that we weren't going to be able to play.
Yeah, I bet.
that was what we were thinking. We sort of we had a lot of ups and downs on that tour. And yeah, that was almost another nail in the coffin because we I shot a quick email to the representative for Wacken, and he was just like, yeah, we're still trying to get everyone to play. We're trying to get your slot to go ahead. Please just come down, but please try not to stay more than a day. Like if you can, just come for your slot, and then if you could leave, because we're trying to just watch capacity and things like that. So, and when we got there, I remember so vividly, the big German dude handed me the passes, the artist passes, and he was like, now it's your job. The fans out there aren't very happy right now, so it's your job to keep them happy. So please just get up there and have a good time and keep them happy for us. We'd really appreciate it. And I was like, whoa, I'm not going to try and do his, German accent, but that's basically what he said. And I was like, whoa, it was just so surreal to hear that from like such a big event, big fest like that. Just them being so down to earth and just being backstage, man, and meeting Joey Belladonna from Anthrax was doing some guest work with Doro.
Yeah.
And, got to meet him and his wife, and he was asking us all these questions about our tour and legitimately asking us like actual questions. And I was like, really, I thought he was just taking the piss, but then after I was like, no, I think he's actually being legit. He was asking us how our tour has been going and, what's it like coming from Australia? How does that work? And I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. And then meeting Mickey D as well from Motorhead. That was a big, big moment for me. I'm being a massive Motorhead fan and playing in a Motorhead tribute. Got to meet him, and he was just such a gentleman, man. It was a very surreal experience. Not what I expected it to be, but unfortunately, because of the weather, I tried to go to other stages and watch bands, but like just because of the weather and not having the appropriate footwear, I felt really trapped there.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
What it is, man.
That makes sense because as soon as I got there, bought some gum boots, wore them, and then on the last day, I thought, I'll just wear my regular work boots. Those work boots now belong to the Holy Ground. They're stuck in the mud. I could not get them out. I had 3 people helping me. Could not get my leg out. I had to unzip the side, and they're just there. I don't know what's happened to them, but they're there. I was so stuck.
Wow.
It was that bad.
It literally swallowed you up, man.
Yeah, it did, because it stopped raining, so that mud started to turn into concrete. Because that first day it was like slush. You could just kind of skate through it. But when you stood there for too long on Saturday, It's just concrete. You could not move. So yeah, lesson learnt. Gumboots next time.
Yeah, we tried to stop at some places on the way down, man, and they were just all sold out. And we should have, yeah, it should have been something we did like way before.
Yeah.
But we were sort of stopping at little places on the way down, and it was just sold out, sold out, sold out. I don't know where you got them from. You must have
I
had
actually
some
got them
dealer.
at the grounds. Like they were said, don't get me wrong, they were
Oh,
very much marked up, but they were good and they
oh,
lasted me.
right, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. We ended up just having. I remember Phil, our guitarist, despite being a mechanic, is like really a bit of a clean freak, and he had his like white, white high tops with like bagged up with like a garbage bag around his while I was walking around, and I was like, no, I'm just gonna wash my shoes after like a normal person, you
yeah.
know. But I suppose when you're wearing white, bright white high tops, I suppose you got to take some measures, don't you?
Well, you live and you learn at the end of the day, don't you? But with all these legendary things and all these big tours you've done and support, has that influenced you over this? Because, like I said, you've come in, you've done the Wacken, you've played with Sepultura, you've done all these shows. Did that influence like progressing to be right? Right, let's go in this. Let's really kind of up the game on this next album. Let's push it to where we're not maybe exactly comfortable and just kind of see how big we can make this sound because this is the biggest you guys have sounded on any track.
100%, man. Yeah, and that was a bit of a challenge for our engineer, the guy that mixed and mastered it, Dennis Coeni. He's mixed like Sodom and Exuma, a lot of German thrash stuff, and
Yeah.
Lacuna Coil of all bands as well. And we did say that to him. We handed over the tracks when they were finally all track. We were just like, just make it sound as big as possible, man.
Yeah.
Like, if you were going to mix an Andy Sneap record, what would that sound like? So we just wanted to get everything sounding huge because this is our fourth album. We just wanted to. Our last album was killer in terms of production and everything, but we just wanted to have a little bit more variety and it to go a little bit longer as well. A few of our fans commented how our last album barely reached half an hour. It was like our Rain in Blood,
Yeah.
But this one we wanted to have a minimum of 40 minutes, and we ended up getting 47 minutes.
Yeah.
Almost didn't fit on a vinyl. So
Yeah, there you go.
because you can only have 22 minutes each side on a vinyl. So
Yes,
yeah,
true. That makes a lot of sense. That's why I don't think it's a pain in the ass to get any Dream Theater record on vinyl because their songs are 29 minutes long. So
yeah. Man, I haven't listened to Dream Theater in so long. For me, they just they stopped writing riffs and just had these long, massive pieces. And for me, I don't know, I just got a bit lost in all of that. So maybe I need to give them another try, mate. You've just reminded me.
yeah, no, it's one of those ones you remember. It's like everyone I think in their day listened to Dream Theater, but you're right. It became something more than, and don't get me wrong, it's not bad. It became something more than a band. It became like a score, and maybe I was lost on that a bit too. Yeah.
Like musical wankery almost, just
Yeah.
like who can shred the longest and do this. It's just like, man, where's the songs at? Where's the riffs, And that was the thing with us with this one. We just wanted to have, not to compare to a band like that, but like just having good songwriting and really just being really particular about, making sure that we're really happy with everything and before we finish up. So yeah, there was a little bit of pressure with our album launch coming up. Part of me is like, well, maybe I wish I didn't have that booked, then I would have had more time. But then, of course, sometimes that lights a fire up your ass to actually get it done. So, what can you do?
Yeah, it's you're doomed if you do, you're damned if you don't. One of those things. But I want to say about this album as well. You've done a really good job of pacing it. Some albums you get like that track fatigue of the first four are really great, and then everything kind of starts to taper off because it's the older. Remember in the early 2000s, all the singles every band put out were the first 5 tracks on the album, then it was just B-sides for the rest, and you always turn the album off. I find with this album, I was liking songs like Cursed Mount. I really love that. Fucking Loser, like just towards the end of the album, like, fuck, this has still got a lot of fucking energy the whole way through. And I think that was really well done. Was that, when you guys sat down to do it, was it kind of like, okay, we've got to have it like a roller coaster effect. It's got to have its highs and lows. We can't just come here and dive down. It's not a water park. We can't go up here and then all the way down to the end. We've got to keep it going. Was it something you consciously thought of? It just work out that way?
Yeah, it's a good question, man. Like ballads are always like for us, we're big Metallica fans.
Yeah.
I have a love-hate thing with Metallica being, because of their commercial success. But But I mean, I have Cliff Burton tatted on my arm, so I can't be that much of a, a prick about them. But the whole ballad thing in the middle of towards the middle of the album has always been a traditional thing that we like to do, that we've done in previous releases. But yeah, just making sure there's enough flow in there, and our drummer does a lot of always has the final sort of ideas around the track listing, and even the set list live. He will just hand me the set list, and I'll just go, "Yep, cool. This is what we're doing." It's kind of nice to know that job's just taken care of, and I know it's going to be done well, and you've already commented on it, so that's really cool. But Fucking Lose It was actually the last song we wrote on the album.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it was just like a quick, like, slapped a riff down. We just based it off a Testament song.
Yep.
And then just kind of like built it from there. And we wanted to have a song with some like techie kind of tapping parts in it, and which we don't really do a whole lot with Hidden Intent. We're not really a techie kind of band, but we wanted to have a bit of that in there and kind of just show people some of our chops a little bit more, rather than just being a typical thrash band that just writes good riffs. We wanted to just have a little bit of that technical element in there. So and Kirsten Bound, man, I'm with you on that. It's the song that I'm like, it was supposed to be a nod to Motorhead, right?
Yeah.
It's got Lemmy, overdubs in there, voiceovers, but it ended up being this kind of really classic sort of, really showed off all of our influences. Like the outro, Phil had that lying around for years. It's like it reminds me of like a new wave of British heavy metal kind of outro to a song.
Yeah.
So showing off that side of the band a bit more, the less sort of thrashy stuff and more the rock and roll sort of melodic hard rock stuff. So yeah, pretty happy with that one, man.
I'm glad you said it that way too, because I definitely got the Motorhead vibe, and you get all that too. But the ending is like very much. I was like, oh, this is something I could imagine Maiden doing on their early stuff, like stuff like that. So I was very much like, and I like it that you've done this, like you said on Fucking Losers as well. Some of the tapping, because it's almost like, I like to think of music as a meal, and you listen to album, that's your dinner, you got your courses. If everything comes out the same and everything's got the same spice blend on it, is it enjoyable? Yeah. Does it get repetitive after a while? Yeah. And you might miss something you really like. What you've done on this album as well is there's just like little different spice and herbs on everything to make it just every track stand out. Just that little bit, we're still going, well, this is like a steak. Well, this is still a steak. Oh, but seasoned just slightly differently, making it slightly different to the last steak I've ever eaten. So I really like that you've gone ahead and done this. Whether intentional or not, I feel it really shines through and makes the album really kind of stand out on its own merits. I think people are going to be really surprised once this comes out and they get to listen to the whole thing all the way through.
Yeah, and I think people that even maybe don't take the band heaps seriously will be like, you know what, I'm not a huge Hidden Intent fan, but that's a fucking good song.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of what we were aiming to do as well. We were a little bit on the fence about, would we lose our sort of typical, we called him the Suicidal Tendencies hat with the battle jacket.
Yeah.
Would we lose that guy but gain 10 more new fans? That was kind of how we looked at it too, with the variety of the songs in that slightly heavier direction. Like, we've never tuned this low on a whole album as well. We've traditionally always been Slayer, E flat, And this one we did a couple of down-tuned songs on the last record, but this one's all D flat and 2 songs in B. Which when I tell people that, they're like, "What are you guys, Sepultura roots? What's going on here?" Like. Heaps, how low can you go? But we just wanted to again test those boundaries of the band, but still keep it as as Hidden Intent. It's one of those things, man. Terrorform is a song that I'm still like, I don't know about that one, but hey, that's the next single. So
there you go. And it's one of those things too. I think tuning down as you get older makes sense as well. Like you said, you've kind of developed a voice in the more of that kind of Lemmy style as well, which is a bit more gravelly and deeper. So having the music come down with that at the same time is definitely not the worst idea, because it makes it sound full. Like, you're not getting that. I don't know. You'd know better than me because you're the one getting into it like that. But I feel it just kind of fills it out and it complements the voice, because there are bands that are around, I won't name any, where I'm like, oh, this sounds great, but why does the singer sound like he recorded that before he even heard the track? Because it just kind of, it's sounding off, not out of key, but it just doesn't feel like it's blending. And I feel sometimes bands refuse to, no, this is the way we're doing it. We're not going to change with how you changed. And they've gone, well, I'm just going to change to this, and vice versa. So it's good to see that you've kind of done it, whether you've done it just naturally and it's just happened that way, or it's something you were conscious of at the same time. I feel it really kind of, it adds to the fullness. It makes the sound big. Like you said, you want it big, and I feel you've made the sound big on this one.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's it. Like, and we kind of looked at all of our favorite modern thrash bands, and some of them are tuned a lot lower. Like Onslaught, all of their latest
Yeah,
albums are in C, I think. And we'll just like look. I think for us to sort of tap into that modern element a bit more, rather than doing the traditionally the old school style with everything being in standard E or E flat. I think it's yeah, it's just breaking a bit of new territory for us without, but still being ourselves. That's sort of been the challenge. And believe me, there was a few discussions around like, oh, have we gone too much this way with this? We need to bring it back a bit because I'm like the thrash guy in the
yeah,
band, and the other guys are more into more like diverse sort of stuff. I mean, I still love. Yeah, for me, it's like old school thrash, and I love my traditional heavy metal. That's
yeah.
my jam. But drummers more into like the techie sort of proggy sort of stuff, and then Phil listens to bits of everything. So he's a bit out there. So
Oh,
yeah.
that's how you make the sound at the end of the day. And younger self, like when you were first writing in intent, were you always like, nah, man, fuck this. We've got to keep it the old school way. I'm always going to be like this, man. You've just kind of, we all get softer as we get older, regardless if we're going to admit it. So we go, oh, you know what? Maybe I will try something different. Is that kind of what happened there as well over time? Have you?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
started out like Walking Through Hell, our first album. If you listen to it, it's just like a jam.
yeah,
Like it was. We never thought the band would get to where it is now. It's just like basically me and Phil just catching up, and we used to say we used to eat grain waves. Those
yeah, of course.
chips.
Yeah,
We used to
yeah,
just smash a grain wave and write a riff. That's what we used to do, and just sit down and I did a lot more of the writing back then and on bass to write little riffs and stuff. And yeah, and then always trying to go for that higher falsetto sort of stuff. But then, as you said, I've kind of learned doing the Motorhead tribute that my voice naturally sits quite well and low. Although there's a lot of songs in this album where I'm actually singing quite high,
Mhm.
given the band is I'm doing this sort of higher bark kind of register, but it kind of suits where I'm at now. So I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, well, look, the proof's in the pudding here, and people are probably sitting there going, well, people have heard the ruins. And that's a perfect example of the kind of the sound you guys have laid out on this album as well, which is fucking fantastic track. I remember first hearing it along with the music video at Froth and Fury. Just brilliant. So it's good to kind of hype it up. And
Yeah.
speaking of live stuff, you got the debut like tour coming out for this as well. How are you feeling getting ahead of that? Are you ready for it? Or are you still like, oh, we need to polish off a couple of
Yeah.
keys?
Oh man. Oh, like just trying to pull those songs off live,
Yeah.
like there's just some crazy vocal parts. That was another thing too. I never thought the Hidden Intent would sort of hit that level of like diversity in vocals.
Mm.
Like I always thought we would be, you listen to like Sodom and Slayer and you expect certain things of those singers of what they can realistically do.
Yeah.
And then with this, there's a little bit more variety, and just now it's just about pulling it off live. But I had a practice the other week in here. This is my little sort of home studio thing set up, and
I
I
had a
was like,
feeling. Yeah.
"Ooh, yeah, yeah," and I was just kind of like, "Oh man, this is actually going to be really hard." But I had a crack last night, and I was just a lot more, I don't know, just well rested, and it sounded great. So it's just a matter of chipping away at it and just getting used to the new songs and then translating them as live as best as we can. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And do you have any idea how many you're going to try and play live? The first show, you're going to run through the whole album, or is that kind of not the way to go?
We're probably on the because my great management decision was to have the album out the same day as the launch. I mean, people are going to be thrashing it throughout the day. I understand that. Some of our real diehard crew that really enjoy us will do that, but not everyone will, right?
Yeah.
So, but we're going to be playing the two singles. So definitely the Ruins and Terrorform. Terrorform's the next single.
Yep.
And then probably three more. So yeah, we're going to be playing a few of those, like Behind the Mask. That's an easy one that we can whip out. Cure Fatuation and Reaper. So
Yeah, sick. No, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great, and hopefully, the tour makes its way over to my neck of the woods over in Sydney over here. So that'd be nice. I haven't seen you guys on Aussie soil.
yeah. Really?
Yeah,
Wow, man, we've played Frankie's back in the day that many times. The Duke, we played with Angelus. We played Steel Assassins. I'm surprised you haven't seen it.
I
That's
see.
funny.
I used to live all the way out in the country, so coming to the city was hard. It's only been the last couple of years, and I think every time you guys have been here, something's been off, and I've been somewhere else. I nearly went to the one you did out at Silverton. I was trying to get out that way as well for the Mad Max one.
Yeah, that was a good gig, man. It was cool.
I wish I did, because my wife's cousin runs the Mad Max Museum up there, so it was a good excuse to go up and see him. But that fell through as well. So I'm starting to think, geez, my curse just not to see you guys on Australian soil. But I'm sure it's going to happen sooner rather than later. We'll get there. We'll get there.
You're cursed and bound, mate.
Yeah.
I'm a dad, so I can make dad jokes now. We're a dad thrash band officially.
Aren't they all at this point, though? Really?
No, that's right, man. But no, definitely check out Metal to the Max next time. That was a cool fest. Anyone listening to this, just so DIY, but like the sound was killer. The production there was amazing, and the fact that you can just camp out there and you can get the full Aussie outback experience with the Mad Max Museum there too, and BYO as well, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah. No. Well, we definitely will. But, mate, look, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here today. I won't keep you too much longer. I know we've got to get dinner on and everything. We just got home from work. Yeah, that's what we've got to do in life. Is there anything you want to say to the people out there watching this? Because there are going to be a lot of Aussies watching this, but potentially I've got a surprisingly large European following. So is there anything you want to say to those guys as well?
Just if you remotely like any thrash stuff with a bit of variety, give the album a spin. And grab yourself some merch. That always really helps us out, being an independent band.
Yep.
But I hope you all enjoy the new record, and we're going to be touring a lot of Europe later this year in August, September. If you remotely like one song, come check us out. And for all the Aussies out there, get a dog up, mate.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. Well said, mate. Well, I will link that down in the description below, so you've got no excuse not to pre-order the album, buy the merch. You're going to be able to find it. But Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate.
Bloody oath, man. Thanks for having me, dude.
Cheers, dude.